Hello, everyone. Welcome to Joe Consume Cinema. I'm your host, Arthur Fleck. And today we have a first time movie reaction to the 2024 film Joker Folie. And I am 100% American, so much so that I had to look that up just to make sure I didn't screw up the pronunciation. Joker 2019. I absolutely love that film. I thought Joaquin Phoenix was absolutely brilliant as Arthur Fleck, and it really just painted this sympathetic character that I really just felt bad for the entire time through. And yeah, it makes sense how that person living that life would become a villain. Honestly, like it was that bad of a life. There's a ton of things I could say about that first movie that really enjoyed. Suspenseful, emotional thriller, just great acting, great performances. Really liked the story and didn't know where it was going, and was just kind of enjoying the ride the entire time through. But yeah, like I remember hearing that they were going to do a sequel, and I remember thinking that's awesome because I love the first film. And then it came out, and it's pretty much regarded universally as a bad film, unfortunately. But I haven't seen it, so I want to give it a shot, on my own to see just how I take it. I will say that there are times when the consensus, I think, is genuinely wrong. It's not often that that happens, but yeah, I will occasionally disagree with the majority opinion. It does happen in film. It's rare, but yeah, I will disagree when it's warranted. So we're gonna give this a fair shot and see what happens. Lady Gaga is in this film. Probably not the cast I would choose for a Harley Quinn, but you know, uh, I don't know. I've never seen her act before, so maybe she's good. I don't want to get too much into it because, again, I haven't seen any real spoiler stuff. I've seen a couple stills, so I know that Lady Gaga is in it, for example, but other than that, I don't really know anything else about it. I just know that one of the reactors that I watch all the time, Movie Fusion, put out a review. I didn't watch it because I didn't want to spoil anything, but he was actually defending the movie, so I felt like, you know what, let's actually give this a shot on the channel. Just want to remind everyone to please blank and blank. We are over 800 subscribers as of the making of this video. That's awesome. We're getting really close, and I just want to thank everybody that contributed. But we still need to keep going, so if you give this video a like, comment, share, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. With that, let's get right to the movie.
Come on, get out of bed. Get up. Clean this fucking mess up.
You got a joke for me today?
Hey, Arthur, you feeling crazy today or what? Taken down to our floor.
Yeah, this place looks like hell. I know this actor that plays the guard. I forget his name. Good actor. He was in Gangs of New York and a bunch of other movies. She's obviously a fan.
Get him a fucking umbrella.
Oh, come on, counselor. You know, we can't give these boys umbrellas.
You need to be in an actual hospital with actual doctors. Not this Department of Corrections bullshit with thugs. Dr. Beatty thinks that with everything that happened to you in your childhood, it caused a split. She believes you have another person living inside of you. And it was this other person who committed those crimes.
How about Murray Franklin? What, if anything, do you remember about that night?
The music.
That's good. Arthur, that is good.
He's so handsome. Look at those sparkling white teeth.
Do you often hear her voice in your head?
All the time.
So already I'm seeing some parallels. The four guards that enjoy harassing Arthur are giving me the three Wall Street guys from the subway vibes from the first film. Very similar.
Ever since they made that TV movie about you, everybody still thinks you're a star. How about you, Arthur? Do you still think you're a star? I bet you do, don't you?
I think that was kind of like a trigger for him. His mood seems to have changed a little bit.
We use music in this class to make us whole, to balance the conflicting forces, the fractures within ourselves.
My name's Lee. I set fire to my parents' apartment building.
I was 6. Nobody knows, but I also killed my mother.
I should have done that. My mother had me committed. She says I'm psychotic. I grew up in the same neighborhood. Me and my friends used to take that staircase to school every day. My parents didn't give a fuck about me either. My father beat the shit out of me. When I saw you and Murray Franklin, the whole time I was watching, I kept thinking, I hope this guy blows his brains out.
You want to know what I regret most from being on the Murray Franklin show?
What's that?
That I didn't shoot first and let him ask me questions later.
Is that a joke, Arthur?
No.
Not guilty by reason of insanity makes no sense in this case.
Harvey Dent.
Our office will be seeking the death penalty. Thank you. We'll be taking no questions.
They're gonna fry you, Artie. How does that feel?
For once in my life, someone I've needed so long. For once I have someone.
Answer him, Arthur. How's it make you feel? You scared?
Yeah, it's all in his head. He just imagines these scenarios.
Worth a fortune when they fry his house.
Easy now. Let's go. Musical.
Setting the piano on fire? What the hell? Great visual. It's a reoccurring theme, but he constantly retreats back into his own mind because he finds it more comforting. Just creates these imaginary scenarios.
Now I can be at your trial every day. I can see you every day until you get out. I want to see the real you.
This is the first time that Arthur's ever had sex. It's sometimes difficult to know what's actually happening and what isn't.
You're not Joker. You're Arthur Fleck. Arthur. Are you okay?
I feel like this is a setup.
Patty, all I remember from that night is I was going to kill myself on television.
Still want to die?
Well, at the time, it certainly seemed a lot easier than living.
Who am I speaking to now? Which one of you is here? The poor, low IQ Arthur Fleck, or the Joker who goaded a bunch of no-good punks?
Or do you really care? You don't. You're just like Murray. I'm not alone anymore.
Right. The girl who was singing the night you tried to escape.
I'm in love, and don't I show it?
This is another scene where he's in his head and he's just sitting there, not answering him, thinking he's singing a response. Or is this really happening? It's sad that other desperate people grasp onto this, like it will actually do something.
In my opinion, he's not psychotic or unable to test reality. I think he was sane when he committed these crimes.
You'd be so sure after just 89 minutes that this Joker isn't a distinctly separate and split personality from him. That when Arthur was 7 years old, they returned him to his abuser's home. Physical and sexual abuse he suffered.
No, I didn't ask him about that.
Reading through his records and tests from the same government agencies that abandoned him, you want us to believe that you can say with absolute certainty that Arthur doesn't suffer from any serious mental illness? That he didn't need to retreat into fantasy?
Like a different personality wrote this.
No, it sounds like Arthur.
Let's not do this here. Do you see all those people out front? Who do you think they're here for? How many t-shirts is Arthur Fleck on? See how sick he is? How much help he needs? He's perfect. She lives on the Upper West Side with her parents. Her father is not dead. He's a doctor. She voluntarily committed herself to the hospital and then just checked herself out when she wanted to.
She didn't check herself out.
Arthur,
I was a bad influence on her, so they separated us.
did she mention she went to grad school for psychiatry? She's playing you for a fool.
That's an interesting twist. I don't think the lawyer's lying. This is like Sonny and Cher.
Is the honeymoon over?
Feels betrayed learning the truth.
Did you lie to me?
Sure. I mean, everybody lies a little. They're laughing at you in there. She doesn't care about you. I'm pregnant.
So each time this happens where there's a musical trigger, part of me is asking if it's real or not, and another part is asking, is this even necessary? It's a cool shot at least.
Well, then why did you finally decide to comply?
I should have called the police that night. Then maybe all those people wouldn't have been. Maybe they wouldn't be dead now if I did. She couldn't believe that he'd based his whole life around this made-up story. He was a street clown and he wanted to be a comedian.
She made fun of him.
He's retreating again.
He was probably a surgeon.
I can't do this anymore.
I want to fire my lawyer. Excuse me?
I'd like to represent myself. You're fired.
Arthur, don't you can do anything you want. You're Joker.
Arthur believes he has all of these supporters, but they don't care about him. They care about Joker.
This is the guy that Arthur let live, because he was always nice to him.
I told you I wouldn't hurt you, and I didn't.
Not hurt me. I couldn't go back to work. I still can't sleep, and I'm scared all the time. I never used to be scared. You were the only one at work who never made fun of me. You were the only one who was nice to me.
So it keeps doing this, and it's just not necessary. Oh, God.
Why is everyone so upset with me? You jackass. Aren't you gonna buy me a drink first? Let's go, let's go.
Oh, my God.
Oh, mind your business, Folie. What'd you do to him? I wanted to come out here as Joker. I was gonna go on an angry rant and blame all of you and everyone.
It was all just a fantasy.
There is no Joker. It's just me. I killed 6 people. I wish I didn't, but I did. I also killed my mother. Put a pillow over her face and smothered her to death. I just want to blow it all up and start a new life.
That was sad. Wow.
Of the people of the state of New York versus Arthur Fleck.
It's gonna be like an explosion or like armed people bursting through.
Guilty as charged.
Stop laughing, you
Murder
shit!
in the second degree.
I was waiting for it. Oh my god, don't tell me that's how we get Two-Face from this. I just saw Dent and he had ash covered on the one side of his face. Taking maximum advantage of this right now. She had to have planted the bomb.
We're gonna burn the whole fucking city down now.
Yeah, he's inspired some horrible things. Desperate people latching onto this.
All we had was the fantasy, and you gave up. There is no Joker. That's what you said, isn't it?
Please, we're having a baby.
Goodbye, Arthur.
A psychopath walks into a bar and sees this famous clown sitting there, all alone. What a disappointment. The psychopath says, how about I get you what you fucking deserve?
Alright, so this guy cut his face like the Joker. And they're talking about a replacement like a son. Todd Phillips. No bueno. Okay, took some time to gather my thoughts, so that was the Joker. Folie Deux. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, a lot of interesting artistic decisions were made here. Part of me thinks this is a good movie that's been infected with cancer, and part of me just thinks this is a bad movie. Right off the bat, I don't think there was any point to the opening cartoon at all that wasn't necessary. I would immediately cut that from the film, and yeah, you don't need it at all. So there are elements in this movie that remind me of the Joker and that are appealing. Like, Arthur Fleck still comes across as sympathetic. Again, murderer through and through, deserves to be in jail, and once he's convicted, deserves to be executed. There's no doubt about that. Having said that, you still feel sympathy for the guy. The guards were beyond horrible. It's one thing to be mean and a bit cruel to him. It's another thing to take to the level that they did. Wow. I did not see that coming, but yeah, they went there. So I now understand why Lady Gaga was cast as Harley Quinn in this, because they turned this film into a musical and really was not necessary at all. In fact, up until the last 10 minutes, I would have said that this is a good film that's being choked to death by music, but the ending was also terrible, and I did not enjoy that part either. Every time Arthur gets confronted by something traumatic, like talking about his past, a really emotional scene, whatever it is, he always has this trigger where he retreats internally, and there's always this, musical montage, him singing, someone else singing, multiple people singing, and it's not necessary. Like, the first film had an element of music here and there, but it wasn't drowning in it like this film is. That's a major flaw that I would personally cut out. Like, this film is about 2 hours and 15 minutes, give or take, and I could cut out a half an hour of just those scenes where he does that or another character does that, and it just isn't necessary. I don't get it. And yeah, that's a artistic decision by the director, which I just don't agree with. Like, I understand the psychological aspect, what Arthur is doing in the moment. It's just, it takes you out, and every time it just kept happening, and it just made me want to cringe. The ending was bad. Just flat out bad. I thought it was building towards an escape for Arthur. I called it before it happened, but I thought, okay, there's going to be an explosion, or, armed men are going to storm through the door. And there was an explosion, and he escapes, only to reunite with, Lee, Harley Quinn, and she's turned his back on him completely. Like, there's so many things that just are antithetical to me in terms of, you know, this it's it's kind of complicated, right? Like, the Joker is in the Batman universe, but Batman doesn't exist in this timeline yet because in the first film he's a kid, so he's still like a teenager right now. And Arthur Fleck, the Joker, really isn't the Joker that we think of because the ending has him brutally stabbed to death by the person that actually becomes the Joker. Because I didn't think they were going to go this way, but the audience saw at the end where he's cutting his face. You know, that's the Joker. That's the actual Joker. And it's interesting because that character was in the background, and it's much more, you know, on brand because you don't know that person's name, you don't know their story, you just know he's some guy who's in an insane asylum, Arkham. And yeah, he was kind of rooting for Arthur the Joker throughout the film until he said, "No, I'm not the Joker. I'm just Arthur Fleck." And yeah, at that point they all turned on him. The actual Joker, whoever, again, we don't know his name, but the real Joker, in my opinion, finally did Arthur in, and I guess now is going to take up that mantle for himself. Like, fully committed to it. Yeah, so really just conflicted with this whole movie because there's parts of it that I enjoy and thought were good, but it's just drowning in a sea of musicality and incoherence that, yeah, overall I just have to say this is not a good film. And that's unfortunate because they could have made a good film if they had just stuck with the formula that worked in the first film and then continued that here. I think it could have worked. If it were me, this film would be about 90 minutes. Arthur would have escaped with, you know, Harley Quinn at the end. Maybe do a third film, maybe not. Really, the more that I think about it, the more I think they should have just left the first film on its own, just left it alone completely. Because this is just, I don't know. It kind of undoes all the greatness of the first film. The more I think about it, the worse it gets. So yeah, I gotta disagree with Movie Fusion here. I think he was actually defending this film, and there are parts of it that, again, I thought were good. The parts that were very similar to the first movie were good. The conclusion and the vehicle that it took by, you know, oversaturating the movie with music really just didn't do it for me. So yeah, I gotta say this is a bad film, unfortunately. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So as always, thanks for watching, and peace.